This, by the way, is I think one of the biggest sources of fraud in the world is government-funded non-governmental organizations. This is a gigantic fraud loophole where the government can give money to an NGO and then that there are no controls over that NGO.
Today is Sunday, March 16th, 2025. And over the last 2 years, I have issued several Find the Money challenges. And this one is the most recent. And you can see I uploaded it about 6 months ago. And I want to share with you this interview with Elon because as I watched it, my thought was that the deficiencies in his leadership are starting to show. But a big part of that is that he is worn out, and he's probably also at a point where he's concerned about his own financial well-being, because that is what these people do. They will latch on to a useful resource and will suck it until it is drained dry. But I wanted to correct some errors in his approach, at least from my perspective. And so that is what I endeavored to do today. So I'm showing you here screenshots of a journal entry from 2022 where I was investigating nonprofit organizations as non-governmental organizations. And my focus here was on the church, which is certainly an issue that we need to look into. So I wanted to give you an opportunity to look at these journal entries and consider all of the nonprofit entities who are benefiting from the tax credits or tax exemptions of being able to present themselves as non-governmental service organizations. Keeping in mind that hospitals are also considered nonprofit organizations. When I compiled this entry, I was actually trying to help the church in ways that might allow them to see the errors in how the information was being presented, because it would cause people to panic and therefore be willing to submit themselves to agreements that would be detrimental not only for their congregations, but for themselves personally. But of course, this was 2 years ago, and here we are in 2025, and I don't have that kind of patience anymore. People and organizations who have lived their best life at the expense of the suffering of other people absolutely deserve to be exposed and to be held fully accountable.
So demystify this. How do you do it? Okay. How big is your team?
Yeah.
Where'd you recruit most of them from? And what is it that makes you choose, the Treasury or Social Security or USAID? How does it work? Let the public know, please.
Right. Well, we just basically follow the money. We look at the president's executive orders, and we also just follow the money. So we started looking closely at USAID because they were completely violating the president's executive orders to suspend foreign aid, what's called foreign aid, but in our view is a lot of corruption. So what we saw there is just a tremendous amount of money being sent to non-governmental organizations. But actually, this, by the way, is I think one of the biggest sources of fraud in the world is government-funded non-governmental organizations. This is a gigantic fraud loophole where the government can give money to an NGO and then that there are no controls over that NGO. So they've given billions of dollars, in fact, we estimate tens of billions of dollars to NGOs that are essentially scams.
I thought I would just pause here for a moment to allow you to contemplate some other possible NGOs as nonprofits to consider if you are investigating.
And
by the way,
I'm trying to put a stop to that, so.
I don't want to interrupt, but Secretary of State Rubio just come out, I think he tweeted today, he has accepted over 80% of your recommendations to shut down in USAID.
Right.
So your review and analysis was spot on.
Yes. So I think when people criticize, say, what Doge is doing, we say, well, which part specifically? Because we put all of the actions of the Doge team on the Doge.gov website and on the Doge handle on X. So we post the receipts. So it's like this action has been taken, this action has been taken. So when we get criticism, we say like, of what? Which line do you disagree with? Like which cost saving do you disagree with?
The biggest concern I have here is that the focus is only on payments. And what we also need to see are the balance of that on the sheet, which is income. So we know how much money is going out, but where is the money coming in and from what resource if we have a federal deficit that we're trying to overcome? We need to know how much money is coming in and where it's coming from.
Well, we're trying to act broadly across all departments, so it's not just one department at a time.
Are you in all of them now? All of them?
Pretty much, yeah.
Yes. Oh.
We're trying to make the government more efficient across the board. So yeah.
How big's your team?
We're a little over 100 at this point.
100.
Get to 200.
You're going to get to 200.
Yeah.
Okay. And you're recruiting from where? More or less.
Basically, it's software people, information security software people, and finance. It's basically, yeah.
Wouldn't it make sense, Elon, to have some people on your team who are directly impacted by the deficit and the cuts that are being made? People who are qualified, but also have a vested interest in balancing the budget and understanding what is happening with the money in our economic and government systems.
Yeah, finance and technology. I mean, frankly, I can't believe I'm here doing this. It's kind of bizarre. But I kind of think that we've got this enormous federal budget deficit. And it's a $2 trillion deficit. It keeps growing. Our interest payments are higher than our Defense Department budget. That's I think was the real wake-up call for me, was looking at seeing that the interest payments on national debt exceeded the Defense Department budget, and that was only growing over time.
If this is your greatest concern, as it is for me and for many people, where is the audit for the Department of Defense?
Which meant if we didn't do something about this, then there won't be any money for anything. We'll just be servicing debt.
And you know how to read an income statement, and you know how to read a balance sheet. You've had some business experience. I'm kidding, but
yeah,
you know about this stuff.
Yeah, I mean, really, I just don't want America to go bankrupt.
So it's a call to action. You're hearing a call to action.
Yeah.
You giving up your other stuff? I mean, how are you running your other businesses?
With great difficulty. Yeah, I mean.
But there's no turning back, you're saying?
I'm just here trying to make government more efficient, eliminate waste and fraud, and so far we're making good progress, actually. So our savings at this point exceed $4 billion a day. Mm-hmm. So it's very significant.
You think you'll wind up getting to $1 trillion?
Yeah.
Of savings?
I mean, unless we're stopped, we will get to $1 trillion of savings.
You're going to go another year?
Yeah, I think so.
Final report, middle of next year?
Well, we're just getting things done as opposed to writing a report. Like I say, reports don't mean anything. You got to actually take action.
Yes.
So the waste report in entitlement spending, which is which is most of the federal spending is entitlements. So That's like the big one to eliminate, because that's the sort of $500 billion, maybe $700 billion a year. That is also a mechanism by which the Democrats attract and retain illegal immigrants by essentially paying them to come here, and then turning them into voters.
Yes.
Elon, I know you love being here, but you are not a Native American. You're from South Africa. And I just need for you to make sure you remember that when you think about immigrants and immigration benefits.
The Democrats are so upset about the situation because they're losing, if we turn off this gigantic money magnet for illegal immigrants, then they will leave and they'll lose voters.